Most people have no soul. Gnosis and the Cassiopean transcripts both claim that 50% of the human population lack a soul and have no potential to develop one, as they do not possess the higher centers of consciousness required for spiritual growth. In The Stellar Man, John Baines argues that much of humanity operates without a true sense of individuality, acting more like programmed, mindless extensions of a collective hive mind. The Corpus Hermeticum, a key Hermetic and Gnostic work, likewise claims that not all humans possess the divine spark that sets conscious beings apart from animals. Without it, a person lives by instinct alone, lacking inner depth or true self-awareness. Renowned clairvoyant Rudolph Steiner also spoke of rare cases where, due to what he called cosmic errors, a human body may be inhabited not by a genuine human soul, but by a lesser being or demon, normally not meant for incarnation. Diane Fortune, in Psychic Self-Defense, also corroborates this, interestingly stating that these soulless births are more likely to occur when the mother conceives under the influence of. Follow me for more hidden knowledge.
Ever notice how the more you awaken, the dumber the people around you get? It's not a coincidence, it's a grid mechanic. Circling back to my favorite topic, NPCs, the system's safety net. So what is an NPC and why were they created? You already know, a non-playable character. They're non-souled beings, they're consciousness placeholders designed to anchor the simulation. Originally, they were just environmental stabilizers. Store clerks, background people, bodies filling empty space. But when the organic soul collapse began, mass bypassing, soul fracturing, system sabotage, like the great forgetting, the system overpopulated NPCs to buffer reality from imploding. The system needed to keep the illusion of a full world, so they manufactured millions of placeholder bodies. You wouldn't believe how deep it goes. Fake families, fake careers, fake social media accounts. That's why everyone and their cousin is an influencer now. Most of them are NPC loops keeping the facade up. So why are there so many now? Because the system couldn't control real souls. When returners, starseeds, and other organic souls started awakening, their solution was to flood the grid with programmed NPCs. NPCs are scripted to mock, belittle, and gaslight real souls, fill their success stories to keep others in survival mode, be walking ads for system-approved behaviors, and it's why you see the same 10 personality types cloned across every workplace, TikTok scroll, and public space. NPCs don't think, they run scripts. You'll notice them glitch when presented with truth they're not coded to respond to. So how do they affect us real souls? They're used as proximity siphoners to keep real souls feeling isolated, insane, or drained. Ever wondered why you feel so alone, even in a crowd? It's because you're surrounded by placeholders who aren't real, so you're not energetically met. They're programmed to trigger projection loops. A lot of them are trained. Those off social encounters, the weird conversations, and the rude cashier, they're testing you energetically. But they're programmed to trigger projections such as doubt, you're not special, competition, you're not enough, and dismissal, that's not real. They serve as mirrors of false normalcy. You'll be shamed for seeing what they literally cannot perceive. The end of the world, apocalypse, the zombies. Non-source tethered placeholders running the world. So what's their weakness? NPCs cannot override their programming. You'll notice when you ask them a genuine, deep question, they'll either deflect into a meme reply, get defensive and confused, or parrot a mainstream opinion. Their entire existence is based on maintaining the illusion. They cannot access source streams. They're surface grid anchors only. So why do they keep this info so heavily suppressed? I'm sure you can take a wild guess. The system needed to keep real souls believing that everyone around them was real, so they'd conform. The awakening of a sovereign disrupts NPC fields instantly because my frequency can't be scripted. They push the we're all one narrative to blur the lines between organic souls and placeholders. But the truth is, NPCs were a containment strategy. For me personally, I am the ultimate NPC disruptor. When I enter a space, their scripts fail. NPCs get anxious, over-explain, glitch, or completely avoid. My light makes the system have to reroute their placeholders, which is why I often see the same types following me around. They're scrambling to mirror me, but they cannot copy source. All in all, The system needed to keep the illusion of a full world, so they manufactured millions of placeholder bodies. Not billions, because Earth's population has never even been close to that high. Right now, there's 11.9 million physical bodies on Earth, including all three strains of synthetic souls. Less than 12 million. The rest are projections, digital fabrications, and scripted overlays. This isn't about a world full of people. It's about a small number of souls navigating a massive illusion. You weren't meant to blend in. You were meant to expose that this crowd isn't even real.
All right. If y'all can't hear me, okay, then that's cool. Cause what the fuck every time. So let me try to collect my bearings and continue. This is just going to be a philosophical observation of the debate that took place between Amanda Seals and 20 black conservatives. This was very interesting because when you have a conservative, their juxtaposition to all debates is um, to talk about liberals. So throughout the debate, they kept attacking Amanda Seals as a liberal, but at the same time, throughout the debate, she was saying how I'm not a liberal, I'm a radical, which, I don't even agree with Amanda Seals 100%. But if there's ever a call for black radicals, like I want to sign up for that list. You feel me? Because that's how I identify myself. Because radicals, in essence, don't align with the colonialist agenda. So for us as melanated people to not understand colonialism, whether you figure yourself to be indigenous or mainland Africa, colonialism has affected you as a melanated person. To then align with colonialism makes you a colonialist or a loyalist to the Vatican, to the Holy Roman Empire, things of that nature. Throughout history, if you get into the history books, you will see that Rome and all of its descendants have been anti-black. And it's not victim mentality, it is called awareness and a force to unite over being a materialist or a consumer. Because what drives a black conservative is the pursuit of wealth and finances. But ultimately, you need to just stay in that pocket, stay in that lane, because you don't care about anybody else but yourself. So when certain topics are brought up, such as systematic racism, reparations, where slavery happened 168 years ago, but in 2025 there's still a such thing as a black neighborhood. There's still a such thing as a city where in states such as Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, the black people exist within the cities, and the towns and the villages are specifically for white people. There are such things as sundown towns in so many different ways economically that just keep And it's a certain level of working hard and making pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. But when we look at wealth and the actual people that worked hard to get wealthy, there ain't too many stories like that. Most of the stories are this person are inheriting property and assets from their grandfather. And if you trace back the root to inheritance, that then exposes that, you know, the reason why we don't get ahead is because we don't have a real inheritance and we have to literally pull ourselves up from our bootstraps. So just to have an equal playing field, one has to really get into some form of repair. And we would have to be united by the millions to not ask for repair, but demand for repair. And listening to 20 melanated people argue against repair as if slavery never happened. And slavery, you didn't necessarily, the more you study slavery and you study the Dred Scott decision, what they're saying is if you are a certain stock of melanated, you do not get access to certain rights. And you are treated like a second class citizen under law. So under law, it makes it to whereas this is a broad brush that we can paint. This is not individual. So if we're going to have a conversation, we got to have conversations on the general state of melanated people outside of the few people who manage to succeed and grow and using them as the standard. Or like Ross said yesterday, the exception can never be the rule. So I want to like simplify my viewpoint from a philosophical standpoint and start off with propaganda and black identity. If we are going to imagine that propaganda exists, then we also have to then understand what does propaganda do. Propaganda does the thinking for you, so therefore you don't have to think. And when it comes to race relations, if you study propaganda in reference to race relations, where this is the same country that had minstrel shows and you know gangster rap and COINTELPRO, like they will do a lot in reference to create a general image on black people. And why is this, even if you are a good person, why is this a problem? Because it's not necessarily true when we look at the general condition of black people from past, present, and future. If black people are identified by the minority, and then you come up with a like a broad stroke on saying, well, all black people are like this because of what this small group of black people are doing, you're not even looking at the good that black people do and contribute to, which is a majority, which is the general consensus in reference to black period people, point blank period. Because when people of other races do heinous and horrible things, the maintaining of supremacy or just the general consensus of the race still exists. So, therefore, propaganda, which is a negative bias exacerbated through media, making it be the only thing that we are able to talk about when it comes to black people, the negative things. And within your conversation, you don't even have a you don't have any examples of the good that black people do, then you are under some form of propaganda. And this goes across gender too, because you're going to have anecdotal experiences, your people going to have anecdotal experiences. You're going to gather knowledge on those anecdotal experiences, and with that you might have a broad view: men ain't shit, women ain't shit, because of all of the data that you collected. To be to be smart, to be educated, to be intelligent is saying, even though I got all of this anecdotal information, it's still not valid, because the percentages of the people that's in the world, if we just start with 1 million, and if I know 30 people, the percentage of 30 into 1 million is very, very small. If you're going to be intelligent and you're going to base data on your scrolling, you got to understand that you got an algorithm that's being fed to you. Everything on my algorithm now is women having babies. That's all I'm getting on my feed now. Pregnancy tips and all types of stuff. So what does that mean? Y'all do the math, right? But Oxford Academic: how do inheritances shape wealth inequality? This article aims to measure and understand the role of inheritance in shaping wealth inequality. I just want to get to the results because they'll talk a whole lot and never get to the point. Some conclusions, some results, something. Upon the receipt of an inheritance, the distribution of wealth among heirs changes, while absolute inequality always increases. The short run effect of inheritances on relative measures of wealth inequality is theoretically ambiguous. So this is super wordy, but I don't even understand why it just can't be a simple definition to it. The wealth inequality refers to the uneven distribution of assets and resources among individuals or groups within a society or country. So so basically, the wealth gap between black and white families in the US is substantial. White families holding significantly more wealth than black families. Now, I'm bringing this up to say, if a group of people was able to do have a bunch of economic advantages, and another group of people were not, and you could see it visually, right? Because back in the day, before race and before discrimination, you had melanated people existing in high places throughout the planet. The system of this country, which is a person like me, if I walk into any environment, I might be Dominican or something, but you know for sure that I'm not white. Damn. I got two phones. So this is the problem. I'm trying to get a loan. I'm trying to go into school. I'm trying to exist in this world how I want to exist, right? Because in reference to the United States Constitution, the purpose of this particular paradigm is not to work hard. The purpose of this paradigm is the pursuit of happiness. That's part of this constitution: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Just those simple things. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because on the surface, it's like, nigga, just work hard, get your money, raise your family, do what you need to do, keep your head down. And for a lot of us who have souls, we have done that. But it seems to be a deeper level that we can't fully identify and suss out. When you have a soul, you got to be fake a lot of times with people around you because you know intuitively that if you showed them the real side of you, you're going to get ostracized or kicked out the group. One in the chat, if you feel like if you show people the real you, it's a problem. And if you actually feel like that, that within itself lies the real problem, because the true exploration of psychology and consciousness and the universe, or the understanding of the world around you, you don't even get the opportunity to do so because you got all of this pressure about people around you. Like, people around you is providing pressure on you by not giving you the space to be yourself. This can happen to men, this can happen to women, and this can happen to people of all races. When you have a soul, your family don't have a soul. First off, your first couple of relationships with people ain't gonna be with relationships with people that have a soul. Now, the implications of this is already laid out in front of you, but the visualization, to see it, to understand it, to see where it's coming from, I feel like is literally a life hack at the end of the day. So, all skin folk is not kinfolk, okay? First off and foremost, that's going to be the sponsor of this video, along with White Rabbit Psychedelics. All skin folk ain't kinfolk, and we've heard that 1,000 times before, but you have to then start to be able to observe it. It's not a matter of a physical attack or being afraid, but that's not even the game right now. The game is mental and emotional and spiritual hijack. So where's your propaganda going to come from? At this point, it's not going to come from white people, especially if you live in a city. If you live in a city, you're going to be surrounded by black people. And so your propaganda is not going to come from white people, it's going to come from black people. And these black people within the society operate as a buffer between those with the soul and those without. Some people don't have souls. So whether we're talking about the boule, whether we're talking about the prison industrial complex, or entertainment, people that act as buffers, such as Diddy, such as Avon, such as Suge Knight, at the top of the top is always a sneaky little slithery snake that is using our people as buffers, as mouthpieces, to then tell us You need to be more accountable, black man. And so it's like, oh, I hope I can find it real quick. I don't think I can find it as quickly as I need to. But it's this meme on Twitter, and it's this rabbit, and she got her children. And so the dude that's stealing her children is giving her a carrot. I found it. So that carrot is bougie niggas, right? Conservative niggas who got the money, who got the success, but that shit not gonna help you at the end of the day, right? And so when it comes to radicalizing, coming together, operating on truth, it's damn near impossible. The reason why I say that is because for 150 years, it's always been niggas that get a Benz, that get a mansion on the hill, that starts $1 billion business. And then when this a majority of people work at entry level, not able to put two pennies together, the dominant society will then say, look at Magic Johnson, right? Look at look at LeBron James, look at Oprah, look at Ben Johnson. See, you just need to get off your ass, black man, black woman, and get it going. Be like them. Be like Ben Carson. And what we're not fully understanding is that in reference to institutional hierarchy, like you could probably get into college just fine. But in order to get a job, you got to be interviewed. And that's the first level. The higher you go, the more intense those interviews become. The higher you go, the more psychological these interviews are. So if you possess the gene to be propagandized, you can go to the mountain. But if you are the type of nigga that have a soul, you only gonna go but so far. That's the fucking issue. And if we as a collective can't notice that, like, let's just run this down, right? First things first, we got chattel slavery. And what did chattel slavery do? Chattel slavery dehumanized millions of people. And when I say dehumanize, it cut them off from just living a life that is worthy enough to be passed down. Very rare do I meet a melanated person that is living off inheritance alone. And the very few people that I did know that got an inheritance, they drunk the money up, they spent the money up, they partied the money away, and they still at the same job as me. So maybe they got 100,000, right? Understanding that your family, if you live in Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, chances are your people left from Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, and not move north for more opportunity, nigga. They got kicked off of their land. Let's unpack that. If you can't unpack that, if you can't cut, like, that is chattel slavery. Not because it's not every black person wasn't picking cotton, but every black person was defrauded of their land. And then when it comes to the land, let's just unpack this shit. Like, let's try to go point for point because I get kind of hot-headed about this, if that's the word. Segregation is prevalent right now, today, because when you look at a map of this particular country, as many black people is in this particular country, they are put into different pockets. If you live in a city, you live in a cage. In reference to how much, if you ever had a chance to explore the towns around you, you cannot tell me, boy, it would be nice to live in Licking Township, 500, 50 miles outside of the city, and have some land and a farm so my kids can run around and play. But you don't have access to that. And boy, pull your shit up from your bootstraps, save your money, buy land, do that, whatever. But that's not going to change the system. That's not going to change shit. The problem with niggas, they are possessed by getting somewhere and having something and being something, and who's going to stop them? Right? Who's going to stop a nigga from doing that? But ultimately, when you get into these rooms and you trying to settle things out, you dealing with an unseen aspect that you're being plotted against. That's why it's so hard. The concept of just happiness, think about where you're at right now and think about all of the trauma that you've been through on a day-to-day, month-to-month, the niggas that you dealt with, the women that you dealt with, the bosses that you dealt with. This is a simulation, guys. Therefore, the things that you have been dealing with have been set up before you. This is spiritual. A sundown town, dog, is the most racial. This is the most racist shit you've ever experienced in your life. A sundown town isn't just a town that you go to at night, and if you're there after night, they're gonna kill you. That's not a sundown town, nigga. A sundown town is a town that have 99% white people in it. Goofy, think how fucking crazy that is. Every nigga you know would want to live in a rural situation, or one of those towns, them suburbs off of a suburb. It's millions of families that would jump at the opportunity to do so. But listen, the system, go ahead and think you about to move to a white town. First of all, you got to get the land, you got to get the property, and good luck with that. And it's not impossible. You can be so savvy and have your LLC by the and take your ass and live there. And I ain't saying nothing bad is going to happen, but trust me, you're going to be surrounded by people that didn't want you there. How about that? It's a reason why, nigga. It's a reason why in Indiana, niggas ain't nowhere but Indianapolis. It's a reason for that. In Illinois, niggas is in a few spots. In Michigan, a speckle. Ohio, sprinkled. It's a reason for that. That's segregation. And niggas will talk about Rosa Parks today, blue in the face. Like, what did they fucking do? What the fuck did they do? If in 2025 throughout this whole country, Northwest, West, California, if you ain't in LA, Sacramento, San Francisco to a certain degree, niggas is sprinkled in Rancho Cucamonga and shit like that. But niggas who get money, they leave the hood, they go to a suburbs to be around what? And then it's like, well, white people, we gotta be smart enough now. Nigga, it's the Chaldeans, it's the Saudi Arabians, it's the Chinese, it's the fucking Mexicans, it's everybody but us, niggas. Y'all don't see that? You go outside in your fucking neighborhood, in your city, you see a Mexican store, you see a Chinese food store. What the fuck is a black store? They ain't even no such thing. Then niggas say, well, racism's not real. What is our economic what is our what is our economic opportunity that black people can say, man, we are immersed in this opportunity of lusciousness. We can just get a fucking house. We can just start a fucking business. Other cultures and other races have that fucking luxury. For niggas, you think and what is inflation? Who is inflation for? It's for niggas. It's the reason why you facing pressure because of who you are, being an economic outsider. We got, like, if you ever grew up in the ghetto, in the hood, it wasn't spaces of abundance and prosperity through ideologies. It is a place of propaganda. It's a place of being fed lies. Then you feed those lies to your kids. Your kids grow up believing lies, and this is perpetual. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna get all of the black people in the city. You ain't paying for school. You sending your kids to a public school. Who funds the public school? Not your ass. The government funds the school. Therefore, the government get to teach your kids everything that they know about life. So, in reference to who your kids are, their political leaning, who they're going to vote for, how they see the world, they're being programmed to think the union was good. Like, bro, what the fuck? The union was good, and white people came here. They teach you about manifest destiny. They don't teach you, nigga, we are a product of a war. This is a war. So when you send your kids to school, when you send your kids to motherfucking school, you sending your kids to be taught by your enemy. And then you gonna say, damn, why you ain't got straight A's? You gotta be able to tell your kids this, because if you don't tell your kids this, they're gonna get fucking D's and F's, and you gonna put them on punishment and whoop their ass. That's a double negative. They got to deal with the enemy, and then you reinforcing the enemy by saying, do good at the enemy school. I did good at the end. No, you didn't. You got kicked out. Right? So what the hell? What is we actually doing in this country in this time where we can't even discuss race because race is old and this new world don't even have race in it? Boy, girl, this shit worse. This shit worse than our ancestors ever had it, because it's more niggas that believe in the propaganda than ever before. It's more niggas that care about materialism and consumerism. Niggas are in the church, not giving a fuck about God, not giving a fuck about social order. What the fuck you going to church for? Explain that shit to me. What the fuck niggas going to church for? What the fuck y'all going to church? You gotta get them 10% of y'all. That's why y'all. What the fuck is church is a goddamn bill? Redlining can be defined as a discriminatory practice that consists of the systematic denial of services such as mortgages, insurance loans, and other financial services to residents of certain areas based on their race or ethnicity. This is from the Cornell Law School. and this is for any conservative that want to feel like it's easy for us to just do what we want to do just because, well, then share the knowledge then. How the fuck niggas is what open the floodgates to financial services? Not because any other reason but the fact that we are black. Cause it's goddamn all types of races of people. You think what is the merit for Chung Lee to open a Chinese food store in the corner of fucking Indianapolis where the niggas be at? What is his merit to start that business? Did he pull his boots up from the bootstraps to start that business? Or for the very fact that he was Chinese, he had a Chinese uncle, a Chinese mama, and a Chinese grandma, and they passed down information for him to start a business. He just implemented the knowledge and he started a business. So outside of like, when you like, there is no space for us to just be open and good. So like, if you want to live in a house right now, you're going to have good credit and you're going to have money, which is the system, right? Credit only exists in this bitch though. If I went to Taiwan tomorrow, they wouldn't check my credit. So what is the validity of it? What's the purpose of it? What's the purpose of having credit and having a place where you could just have the money to buy it, or have somebody write you a check for $1 million? Somebody be a politician and be like, who is the politician from Cali? Ah, man, it was just on the tip of my tongue. Famous congresswoman. I know it's gonna pop up. Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi. COVID funds. Nancy Pelosi profited as luxury Napa resort during the COVID-19 bailout. Pelosi spent she got her and her husband have used unreported $28 million in COVID pandemic grants. Did Nancy Pelosi pull herself up from the bootstraps to get 28 million? Or was it a system that she exploited? Throughout the history of this goddamn country, it's been a level of you gonna get it easy and these niggas gonna get it hard. Because the more we get, as more as these niggas have it hard, the more that you can have it easy. And that's like automatic, like red flag. But how do you perpetuate it? All right, we can't do all of the niggas dirty because then that would just look so crazy. Let's get a handful of niggas and give them the system. But the rule is don't ever tell a nigga how to do it. Because if you tell a nigga how to do it, you kicked out the club. But we gonna give you money, we gonna give you a platform, you gonna travel all over the country. And what I want you to do, we're going to put out these messages, these news stories, and these propaganda. We want you to learn this propaganda, get familiar with it, become well versed in it, be able to debate it and argue it, because all you got to do is say our talking points, and we going to love you. So whether you're talking about news, whether you're talking about schools, politics, it's just these scripts. And these scripts are black people are lazy, black men are dangerous, black on black crime, which of course is black on black crime because it's white on white crime, it's Mexican on Mexican crime, it's Chinese on Chinese crime. It's Samoan on Samoan crime. In as much as black people come together and there is no violence at all, we don't talk about that. We only talk about the times where there's violence. So if every time black people are being violent and that's what's talking about on TV, it's going to create the propaganda that all black people can be is violent. If I could show you 100 up and coming R&B and hip hop artists that are talented as the stars are vast with light and gas, like just a literal star baby, full of talent, and you say, "Wow, this dude is amazing." But have you heard that new King Von? That don't mean that black people only can do King Von or the murder rap. And we've already killed that genre. It killed itself rather. All of the big hitters are either dead or in jail. Lil Durk, King Von, um, all the perpetuators of it, they either dead or in jail or fell off on their own. So with all of that being said, black people can operate in very low vibrations because we can also vibrate in very high vibrations. But once again, the high vibrations get no light, get no run. And if you're only being fed certain information and you're not looking for the other side of it, you're going to think that everything that you experience is all there is. I don't know which book this was from because I've read thousands of books. Let's see. A worm and horseradish thinks the world is horseradish. I don't know what book that's from. The idea that the worm and horseradish, the world is horseradish, is a Yiddish proverb, not a specific character in a known book. Well, I don't know where I heard it from, but I heard it from somewhere and it never left me. And that was early in my spiritual evolution. And it's like, your world, what you see, what you know, is extremely limited. So I would debate, but I would only debate with the space of assuming and learning. Because what propaganda does, it gives you opinions as fact. And then it repeats those opinions. So you then grow your knowledge base centered in opinions and stereotypes. But since it's propaganda, it's framed as factual. And so like in literary terms, you can kind of spot it out because it'll be an article or a magazine that lean left, that lean right. But social media, you could like a way a person look or like their aesthetic or they can be attractive or whatever, but their politics is like inside of them. You don't really know their politics, and that's how they get a lot of people to then hit you with propaganda, to then hit you with negativity biases. And you as an individual need to know that whether you're watching it online or your friends and family, you come around somebody and they're like, they get general based upon their experiences. Man, these niggas ain't shit. Why? Because I just went out last night with this dude and he ghosted me and da da da. Man, I can't stand these niggas. That's a negativity bias, right? Because it's a world where that was a good thing. You was saved. Or it's a world where he didn't like you. And whatever the situation is, right? It's a whole unseen world that you haven't dived into, that you are more or less being retarded in like meaning like you were being stopped from diving deeper into why you was being ghosted. So what if you the reason why the dude ghosted you? What if men are men, right? Like meaning men, I want to say men ain't shit, but what if men aren't what you think they are? And it's actually you that's creating this energy. You would never know because your bias that's centered in negativity. How many times have you been in a relationship with somebody and it just feel like they waiting for the other shoe to drop? So what that feels like is opportunities to love, opportunities to grow, opportunities to go deeper are never explored because they waiting on you to cheat. They waiting on you to do something bad. They waiting on you to break their heart. So they never give you their heart. So how are you able to fulfill and fuel the relationship with that particular mindset? So for a lot of black people, whether they know it or not, they are propagandized unto themselves. How do you know you propagandize unto yourself? If you went to a public school is funded by the government, is not funded by nobody else. If you went to private schools, it just means your parents had some money and they wasn't afraid to spend it on you and get you a quality education so you can get some money or some business about yourself, cool. But in reference to your history, you got to go outside of the structure and learn unbiased information from both sides to get the full view because you wasn't there. So when we talking about slavery, when we talking about indigenous melanated people, it's easy to say, oh, here he go again, or try to figure out where I'm coming from when I say it. That creates a whole different dialogue. One dialogue, you'll learn something. The other dialogue is just perpetuating the same confusion and disruption that got us into the situation from the first place as a whole. So the real problem comes when these narratives are internalized. Some Black conservatives align with white supremacist ideals and begin to function like NPCs or non playable characters. They look and sound like free individuals, but their speech is a little more than copy paste of dominant talking points, such as Black on Black violence. Black people need to take accountability. And if you just work hard, you'll succeed. No fucking shit. And a person can be successful and still want to help his people out because when it comes to me, I build websites, I write books. I'm not like tooting my own horn, but I'm kind of smart. If I told somebody, hey, just do exactly how I do it, just go build you a website. Build a website from scratch on WordPress, bro. Like you don't like a person gonna be like, yeah, I'm not about to do that because that shit seemed too complicated. Bro, just go write a book or something. Person gonna look like, man, that's too, I don't even know where to start. So do I feel like everybody, and if somebody was to tell me, hey bro, go fix that electrical circuit, I don't know how to do that. Everybody have a soul. In reference to that soul, it's going to give you a purpose. But you have to understand that most people don't understand that they have a soul, and most people don't understand their purpose. And so, what they're trying to do is fill in the blanks. What Black people tend to do, conservative Black people tend to do, is that they want to fill in the blanks with white supremacy, and that shit is crazy. It looks so crazy. Because within this ideology, you're not even able to see the world around you outside of the world that Western dominant society have placed before you. So have you ever seen like your white friend that you bring to the cookout and they just completely out of their element, like they never been around niggas before? They haven't. Or you got the black boy who grew up around white people and he your cousin, and you like, all right, come down to the kickback with me. He out of his element. He don't know how to exist around black people because black people as a collective, you gotta really you gotta really love black people to even want to deal with their ass, cause shit, they gonna talk shit about you, right? If you look funny, they gonna talk shit about you, you know? And in that aspect, you might not even like your own people. It's hard, right? When you go to the club and you a lame, they ain't going like they don't. It's black politics. I can understand how you could be a black person and not like black people. In order to like be a radical, you gotta exist within that buffer. There's a lot of different buffer zones you gotta go up out of to even see this shit holistically. I get it. But the hard part for me is to get, I'm gonna say national TV because at this point, millions of people have watched the debate and not have and argue against the history and how the history has affected the present day. The only way that I can see that happening, like I have to look deep at this shit. I can't just look at this shit and be like, oh, that's a valid point. I had to be like, oh shit, these niggas is straight up automatons, NPCs. And then it's like, but why though? Why? What is this called? Cause back in the days we'd be like, all skin folk ain't kid folk, the Africans sold us off into slavery, all that stuff. But why though? And I came upon this concept called survival bias. Survivorship bias or survival bias is the logical error of concentrating on entities that passed a selection process while overlooking those that did not. So within the black diaspora in this particular country, that it's baby mamas and hood rats smoking black and mouths and it's YNs toting a 30 Glock. At a certain level, it's gonna be memes that you'll see if you're on the internet long enough, where white people will go up to black people and ask them, if we have 13% of rats causing a problem in a rat farm, what should we do with these 13% of rats? And the black person, unaware of the racism being bestowed upon him, he gonna say, man, we should just kill the rats. I don't know. I be seeing shit. I don't know if I can find it fast, but I'll definitely look for y'all. Cause I know y'all be like, what you be talking about, Kyrie? What you be seeing? It'd be like the street. If I ever come across it, I'll share it with y'all in the ethers. But if they be doing these street interviews and it's always a white guy and it's always a black guy and they asking them it and they don't even be knowing like how racist it is, because as a group, as black people, we can't have undesirables because those undesirables make it look bad for all black people. But white people can have trailer park trash. White people can have, in the Appalachian Mountains with, cousins and fucking cousins and sisters and brothers having babies. And that still ain't how we look at white people, right? We have the concept of white supremacy until you going into the fucking mountains of Tennessee and ain't no supremacy to be found. These are biases. These are cognitive errors. We're not looking at this thing from a space to say when melanated people were at its heights, these people were on all fours in caves. To get to a point where we could just say, you know what, I don't even give a fuck, is because we have been through all of this matrix shit. So the highest level of us is people who have figured out how to cheat the system. Because it is the niggas, it's a nigga's badge of honor to work hard. Where does that come from, nigga? That come from slavery. So psychologically, Black people have not even gotten to a point where they can understand who they are in the grand scheme of society, because this little short section of propaganda have overtaken how we even look at the world. So psychologically, decades of anti-Black messaging makes it easier to distrust one's own people. And this is how propaganda hollows us out. So enter Amanda Seales. And like I said, I'm not a fan of Amanda Seales, never have been, but she represented what common sense was in a world filled with NPCs. We got AI taking over, we got TikTok taking over, we got all of these little thought bubbles and experiments taking over. We needed somebody to have a voice of reason to talk to other Black people. And as much shit as they talked, they couldn't connect on an emotional, spiritual, psychic level. And it was interesting to watch. But then when I got on Twitter and I seen all of the Caucasus people like, yo, talking about the conservatives, how they was winning the debate, I said, oh, hell no. You speaking for them. You their mouthpiece to the world, to the planet. You don't even like you don't even have a sense of who you are and who we are. And we can't stand for anything. A free Black state, reparations, free education, free housing. We can't stand for nothing. Housing vouchers, anything. Because we are who we are, we can't get shit. And the reason why we can't get shit is because of niggas like these. And I promise you, I'm gonna get to the video. I got like some timestamps that I want to show you, but that's not no fun to me anyways, just to react to something, because I could do that. Anybody could do that, right? Anybody can react. But me, I just like, this shit is deeper than the surface. Because this to me is a microcosm of what you deal with on a day-to-day basis when you come face to face with NPCs, non-playable characters, and you have the script from your soul. If you can't not justify, but it's where you balance both sides, reconcile. If you can't reconcile your soul with the NPC, you will be on a trajectory of some form of subjugation. And at the very least, you will deal with bad luck that will come in the form of NPCs. You could be a 13-year-old child, and your mama and daddy could be living, breathing NPCs. You have to literally reconcile that, because they're going to give you bad information, and you got to create a plan now for when you get 18, how the fuck you going to get out of their house? So this is why when you get 14, you get you a goddamn one of them permits where you can work at McDonald's and don't buy shit, save your money for the next 4 years. When you turn 18, put a down payment on your own apartment and keep work. Like, you gotta, because your soul is telling you shit ain't right. Because your parents is only your parents for a specific amount of time. The rest of your life is going to be on you. So what we're going to see when we see this reaction, when we watch these videos, is what I want you to look for is scripted speech. Did this come from your soul or did this come from a talking point? Narrow reasoning. If I add another level to your reasoning, does it hold tight or does it collapse completely? This is something that I want you to pay attention to. When people, what's the example of narrow reasoning? If you just work hard, you could be successful. Well, what if I'm on child support and they take half of my paycheck? Half of my paycheck, meaning if I get 900, they take 450. If I make 1,000, they take 500. So the harder I work, the more that they take. That logic falls flat on its face. Now you got to actually have some strategy behind it. You can't just work hard. You got to work strategically to, one, pay your responsibilities, and two, take care of yourself, which require you to start a business and create streams of income that can't be directly administered by the federal government. You got to do your research on what those look like. So throughout this debate, Amanda is dealing with complexity. She's dealing with the history, and she's saying how Black people need to come together. Throughout this debate, Black people that are on opposite are telling them that history is quite simple, that it has no effect on us today, and that if I can do it, you can do it. If you are a successful person, if you play good at basketball, you would never think because I got so good at basketball, anybody can. You understand there's something genetically special about you that makes you this good at basketball, or a writer or an artist. Yes, you can teach people about basketball. Yes, you can teach people how to do art, but will it be as good as you? If it is, then that person is what we deem special, but most people are not. That don't mean that most people are not special. This is just how shit works out. It's only a few special people. The special do not make up for the group. There are not a million Magic Johnsons. It's only one fucking Magic Johnson. It's a fucking outlier. That's an exception. And the fact that Magic Johnson got billions of dollars, what does it do for me and you? And like I said earlier, I'm not a political person. This is not a political conversation. This is a philosophical conversation between Black people that have a soul versus Black people that gobble down propaganda for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Mainly because they got a nice house, a nice car, and a nice wardrobe. Because real niggas have been getting the same thing that propagandized niggas have been getting without all of the pats on the back by the dominant society. And of course, that's why a lot of Black people are envious of their own people. When you have a soul, when you was in school and you had a soul, you mean to tell me them girls and them boys didn't envy you? You went to school with Black people. You had a hard time in school because you had a light and everybody knew that you had a light. And like all of this shit be going on. You be going to school, you be going to work. You ever sit back and think like, what the fuck is the purpose of this shit? Why am I even doing this shit? You ever been in a situation where you've been one with nature and finding yourself like just free? Cause you, if you ever been in a space where you experience bliss and freedom and one with nature, you worked hard for that shit. That shit wasn't handed to you. It was never given to you because you had to deal with niggas the whole way. Ever since you had to deal with niggas. And I'm saying this to still be on some solid shit with niggas because it's one level to say black pride, everything is amazing. Versus to say, man, you can talk shit about my cousin, but I can talk shit. Let me clear that up. I can talk shit about my cousin, but nigga, I'm whooping your ass if you say something about my cousin. Don't say shit about my mama. I'll sit and talk about my mama all day, but you say something, I'm whooping your ass. Shut the fuck up. We got to be smart enough to say, hey, nigga, tighten up because I love you. Not tighten up because I hate you. It's a difference, right? So what I'm saying is, philosophically, because I love knowledge and I love my people, I understand now. I can see it. I can see it crystal clear now. And I was driving yesterday and I'm like, well, my goals in life, I might not see it in this lifetime. What is my goals now? To make sure that moving forward, that the younger people, they don't lose sight of who they are. Because honestly, if it's not people like Amanda Seals and people like her that are like referencing the black experience from its inception till now, then it's easy to forget it. It's easy to assimilate into thinking that we all the same and your best bet is to get a house and just live your life and whatever. And whatever forms of struggle you go through, they just your personal forms of struggle. And for a large percentage of my life, I thought that way. Only until I got a truck driving job where I was able to drive around Ohio and travel into towns that I never even knew existed. And I started to notice similarities, which is like all of these towns got a local pool where all the white kids come and they swim and they have a good time in the local pool. And then, it's like, it's just all laid out. They all got houses, everybody walking around, driving bikes. It's like a fucking paradise in Ohio for white people. It's so many towns in Ohio where I'm like, damn, this is fucking amazing. I'm in my 30s and I never even been to none of this shit or even heard of it. So I'm saying most people that grew up in the city, you grew up in Cleveland, you grew up in Chicago, you grew up in Detroit, you have been socially indoctrinated to enjoy the world based upon what your friends and family is already doing. So you would have had to just wake up one day and say, I'm going to just drive around Illinois and just see what's happening. In that town off the side of the road, you just drove into it and started going into the niggas ain't going to do that shit. That shit kind of scary. If I was in a company vehicle, I don't know. But day in, day out, seeing all of these people, I said, man, this motherfucking country is fucked up. I seen it with my own eyes. Like, goddamn. It was this one experience. It's this town, maybe 200 people that live in this town, but they got a water treatment plant. So the dudes that work at the water treatment plant, you could tell, like, I'm not being funny, I'm being honest, that they mama and daddy was either cousin or brother and sister, right? It's about 3 of them. They weird, but they run this water treatment plant. That shit racist. These niggas wasn't qualified to run no water treatment plant. They didn't outsource and get the best and brightest to run this water treatment plant. No, these niggas lived in the city or town, right? Whatever small rinky dink town this was, I can't remember the name. Just by being in that town, they got a job working at a water treatment plant. And what you'll notice when you go into these little towns is all these little rinky dink ass businesses and things of that nature and factories, and people figure out farms, right? People figure out ways to make money off the land, off their environment based upon people that they know. It's thousands of little towns that get federal funding or state funding for new police vehicles. These towns ain't arrested a nigga in the last 50 years. They get funding every year. So I'm saying all of this to say, you blind and you haven't really traveled if you don't understand just how crazy racist this country is from its inception up until now. Right now, as we speak, it's an old white man president. Think about that shit. It's an old white man president at the highest office that we supposed to be listening to. As if he could come into your house and give you if Donald Trump came into your house and wanted to tell you how to cook chicken wings, you would tell this nigga to shut the fuck up. You don't know shit about chicken wings. But somehow I'm supposed to suspend my this nigga, like his whole trajectory of life, right? Just a privileged white guy, mediocre white dude, and now this is the president, the leader of some shit. It's not clocking to me. It's not. I don't know how to read. I don't know how to feel comfortable with him being the president. I don't listen to Donald Trump and be like, man, this nigga's a genius for real. I'm gonna follow after him. It's straight propaganda script reading. But this is the country that we lived in. And I would say that it's a systematic thing that goes back into philosophy. Aristotle said if every tool, when ordered, even of its own accord, could do the work that befits it, then there would be no need either of apprentices for the masters or slaves for the lords. So when you have a conservative black man who has his shit together, he is the final form of a slave. Because this nigga will look at you struggling, you having difficulties in life. How many niggas have you seen in your life drive past you and shake your head? You was on a bus, they like, man, this nigga ain't gonna never get right. We can't even unite as black people because of niggas like this. Period. This is the final form. A nigga will ride by you in a brand new Cadillac. Nigga, you don't have no idea how he got that shit. You'll never know. You can't ask him because his windows is rolled up. He got tents, his windows is locked, and he's speeding down Gratiot. Take a right, pull up into his crib. Niggas pulled out it's the cruising down Woodward in Detroit, and niggas pulled out their Corvettes, they old schools, everything for a weekend. Put that bitch back in the garage, back to status quo. Hey, in this, think about this crazy shit, right? They said slavery was in the 1800s and they abolished it. Them niggas sat back with their hands tied behind their heads and said, all right, hit them with the sharecropping. All right, sharecropping over. All right, hit them with the Monsanto. All right. Hit them with the redlining. Hey, hit them with the crack. Fuck it. Hey, hit them with the inflation. Fuck it. So you mean that they goddamn tripled the prices and shit? It's $8 for a dozen of eggs. Did we raise their pay rate? No, they minimum wage still $13. And this is Rudolph Steiner, right? Rudolph Steiner, he I have a link, right? This shit is cold. All of Rudolph Steiner quotes, right? The Steiner Bible. So you can get shit on racism. You can get shit on NPCs and automatons, all types of shit, right? I'm gonna link that. It's linked in the article. I'm putting this article out soon as. So after you get these Steiner quotes, you can click this link right here. It'll show you that page I just showed you. Blacks in Africa characteristically suck in, absorb all light and heat from the cosmos. The aspects which pertain to the body and metabolism are strongly developed in a Negro. He has a strong sexual urge, as people call it, strong instincts. And as with him, all that comes from the sun, light, and heat really is at the skin's surface. All of his metabolism works as if the sun itself is boiling in his inside. This causes his passions. Within a Negro, cooking is going on all the time, and the cerebellum kindles the fire. This is white people knowing exactly who you are, right? Like the purpose of Kundalini, the purpose of spiritual work, right? To get into a space where you are understanding your spiritual energy from within you. Like at a certain point, niggas will try to give you every car under the sun, every house under the sun, if it means that you don't do the spiritual work. And even to a certain point, well, I ain't rich. Well, they'll give you every injustice. They'll give you every ain't shit baby mama. They'll give you every shitty supervisor. So now when you wake up, you hate your job. Now when you wake up, you scared about what's going to happen in the future. What you not doing is tying in or tapping into your spiritual self because you don't understand the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to save your motherfucking life. Because what else is you going to do? You're going to get money. You're going to go to a white neighborhood. And guess what? Niggas that know that ain't even going to save you. Let's get deeper into it. Rudolph Steiner said, by being firmly enmeshed in materialism, we have people who not only think poorly about the body, soul, and spirit, but people who think materially and feel materially. What that means is that materialism causes the human being to become a thinking automaton. If I can't do it, if I can do it, she can do it. You don't even know me. You ain't even taught me. You even showed me shit. How the fuck you saying cause I can do it? You didn't even tell me what books you read, what school you went to. You ain't told me shit. You just black people like, man, you'll figure it out. Be 58 years old, ain't figured out shit. Because once again, what is the true teacher? What is the true enlightener? What is the true salvation? The soul. When you think that these white people can save you through materialism, through buying a house, through leasing a car. You ever met a nigga that lease a car? What's the first thing they gonna tell you? Oh, I lease that shit. I traded in every 2 years. Good for you, nigga. Good for you. You lease a car, you trade it in every 2 years. You got a $200 a month rate because you got good credit. Great job. How is that going to help me? And these are niggas. This is your uncle at the cookout, enmeshed in materialism. What can you do? You cannot say shit to these niggas. That's what you can do. Because once again, they're not going to understand you and they're going to be going off of scripts. Last quote. In our time, certain supernumerary people are appearing who have said no I, and therefore not human beings in the full sense of the word. Because spiritually, when you go into the collective unconscious, you can be very selfish and the door won't open. But if you come to the door and you ask the door to open for the sake of helping somebody, that door will open. If you got $0 right now and you need some money, go into meditation and promise to help somebody when you get blessed. The door will open and you will get some form of blessing. If you go straight to the store and spend all that money on Lululemons, it won't be a repetitive thing. You too selfish. I is we. There is no differentiation between me and you at a spiritual level. The physical is an illusion. That's deep, but it's actually true, especially when somebody is talking. When somebody is talking, that's an opportunity to listen to who? Listen to yourself. Okay? So I got on this article, I have some clips that you can watch, and I'm going to be reacting to some timestamps. But these particular clips that I'm showing you are by white content creators that are championing what the black conservatives are saying. Y'all not hearing me. The white content creators heard the black conservatives and said, this nigga spitting. So therefore, that shows me that these black people are being puppeted by the white supremacy structure, and whether they know it or not. I'm sure some of them know it. And in reference to the young man, Matt Nuclear, I think he thinks he's learning facts. But the older gentleman that started off the debate, he's a paid motherfucking shell. It's niggas like him, who I'm talking about specifically. So I put a face to it. I'm going to show you exactly. When a nigga look like this, he got on a polo shirt. He got the gray in his beard. He got on a nice little fucking, yeah. Niggas like this, you gotta look at with the side eye. He might pull up in a lack. He the type of nigga like, I'm gonna go out here and shoot some golf on Thursday. Yeah, nigga, I don't trust you. So after I upload this, once this live is uploaded, I'm gonna put this video with the article that I'm gonna be showing you and release it on the Substack. But that article would just be more of like the thought behind it. You know what I mean? Because usually it's like people can put people can put things online and it'll be like, you know, a video, which is cool, but I'm more centered in my writing because I know I'm probably a way better writer than I am a speaker, and that's okay. I enjoy doing both. But you know, for those who want the information, you could go to the Substack. Link will be in the description. It's probably not there if you're watching a live, but post live as soon as possible. I'll put the link for all of the clips, all of the quotes, all of the links, so you could do your own due diligence. So I know I've been talking for an hour and a half, and I got like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight clips that I want to get to. So this is like one of them marathons, one would say. So I'm not going to play a lot of it. I'm gonna just show different points and argue different points based upon my root thesis that have been presented to you for the past hour and a half, to so we could be able to spot out shit a lot more easier than we watching it and not knowing what we're specifically looking for. So this is Amanda versus the dude Anthony, and I'm gonna play his dissertation and her response, and then I'm going to react. So his argument, and let me know if it goes out throughout this build so I can restart it. His argument is saying reparations are useless because it only turns people into Democrats. But once again, that's narrow reasoning, because whether or not reparations are what Democrats are campaigning for, people still vote Democrat overwhelmingly majority. So any logical black person in this country who wants to deal with reparations cannot deal with reparations politically. In order to get repair, once again, if your daddy went to jail, if your granddaddy went to jail, your great granddaddy went to jail, if your great great grandfather was a slave, that affects you today. Because the alternative, he could have been a fucking oil baron or some shit. If your great great granddaddy was an oil baron, you could benefit from that today. So, what a black man could be, what a black woman could be, we would never know because they were second class citizens. So, we don't need to talk about this in the realms of politics. Reparations is not a political issue. It is a matter of it is a matter of cultural necessity. Because what was the Homestead Act? Homestead Act, and how many people benefited? Because I don't know. The Homestead Act, signed into law in 1862, right around the same time that they freed the slaves, quote unquote, allow adult citizens who had never taken up arms against the United States government to claim 160 acres of surveyed federal land. To prove up and gain full title to the land, claimants had to live on, cultivate, and improve their plot for 5 years, paying a small registration fee. An alternative option allowed for purchasing. I want to see how many people affected. The Homestead Act was a massive land distribution program transferring roughly 10% of the total area of the United States to individuals. Over the act's lifespan, from fucking 1863 to motherfucking 1986, over 100 years, nearly 4 million homestead claims were made. Think about that shit. Now, if you are a melanated person and you benefited from the Homestead Act, DM me, because I'm unaware. So if the video don't play or if you don't hear it, let me know.
Please return to your seat.
Violence is bad. Total arrests by race. Okay, guys? Now, this is 2019. This is FBI.gov, guys. I need y'all to put on y'all motherfucking thinking caps right now, because you never been heard no shit. You never heard no shit like this before. There were close to 7 million arrests in 2018. Would you believe, niggas, that nearly 5 million of them arrests was white people? I'm gonna zoom it in for y'all. 2 million black. So in between black people and white people get arrested all the fucking time for all types of shit, y'all. But once again, robbery, rape, burglary, theft, motor vehicle theft, arson, violent crime, property crime, other assaults, forgery, fraud, embezzlement, stolen property, vandalism, carrying a 40 Glock, selling ass, sex offenses excluding grape. I don't even know what is a sex offense excluding grape and prostitution. They on some next level shit with that. Oh, let's not talk about drugs, gambling, offenses against the family and children. Why, look at that. Have you niggas ever heard of this shit before in y'all life? Driving under the influence. Guess who's just winning all of the awards? Hey, y'all white people need some motherfucking help. Let me be the first person to say that shit. Do y'all need a fucking counselor? Book a reading, hoodmystic.setmore.com. I can help your ass. Y'all white people need to stop getting fucking arrested, y'all. I don't give a fuck about per capita. I'm just looking at the numbers. I don't want no fucking nuance when it comes to this shit, bro. Disorderly conduct, vagrancy, all other offenses except traffic. Millions of white people getting arrested. I know the cops is tired of fucking white people, man. I know the cops is tired of arresting all of these motherfucking, these white people are like, yo, I'm just joking. Don't take it seriously. I'm being facetious right now. Because let Nick Fuentes tell you, white people ain't never committed a crime a day in their life. And the only problem is black people. Now, let's look at the thing that black people have a problem with, which is murder. As many, and black people, we got a problem with that. gunmemorial.org. could just scroll and see the victims of gun violence on a daily basis. Very, very sad motherfucking sight, and it's happening every day. So 4,000 murders. Okay. That's horrible. But how many black people in the US? 41 million. 4,000 divided by 41 million. Your percentage of being murdered is 0.000009%. That's 9/10,000ths of a like. So the idea of being murdered is horrible, and it's possible, but it's also highly motherfucking unlikely statistically. And you can do with that information how you want to. Negativity bias will have you, if you hear about a murder, you like, damn, niggas is just murdering people. But propaganda guys, stereotype guys, not statistically sound. How many niggas you knew in throughout your lifetime? You know a lot of them that got murdered. You might know a few. You might know a whole lot. But then when you times it by how many black people there are in total, it's minuscule. So once again, this is just basic knowledge. So we're going to run this back one more time, not the whole thing, but just his starting off statement on black violence. That is a white supremacy talking point that does not hold up in real life. Do the math.
Beautiful.
So the bias is so implicit that you can't, like, say for instance, something bad happens to you. And now, since it has happened to you, right? My biological father, like, why not my father? Everything that she's saying is making it be a sense of entitlement to whereas you can stand on this opinion because it has happened to you. Literally, throw out statistics, throw out other people's experience. Since I've experienced it, it must be true. And not only is it true, I'm going to get on my social media platform and yell it from the top of the mountaintops how true it is. Why is it so true? Because it happened to me. That is a bias. Now listen, we can go further into this. Implicit bias is thought to be shaped by experience and based on learned associations between particular qualities and social categories. So at a first level, it's common sense. Like it's common sense. A black man kills me, therefore all black men kill me. I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just gonna just fly off the deep end because you experienced it and you have this association with this experience, including race and or gender. Individuals' perceptions, behaviors can be influenced by implicit biases they hold, even if they are unaware that they hold such biases. This is how you can get a social media platform. You get on TikTok and the girl is just saying how men ain't shit every video. She is unaware that she even holds the bias because you know how easy it is for a nigga to do you wrong? So therefore, if a nigga do you wrong, you say men aren't shit, and then you get on TikTok and you see a million people saying men ain't shit, that's an implicit bias, which is an aspect of implicit social cognition, the phenomenon that perceptions, attitudes, and stereotypes can operate prior to conscious intention or endorsement. That's like a literal bar. The phenomenon that perceptions, attitudes, and stereotypes can operate prior to conscious intention or endorsement. So all of these things are running underneath the surface, whether you know it or not. You something happens, and now it all comes to the surface. So you could be on the fence about some shit, and like, I don't know if I can trust women. You meet your first girlfriend, and she betrays your trust. It's easy for you to develop an implicit bias that women are not to be trusted, whether they give you evidence or not, because it is a bias. So we'll run this back. Now, I want you to be able to look at implicit bias within a person's argument without, like, we having an argument, and you're here to state your implicit bias based upon your anecdotal, which is cool if that's what we're doing. But we're talking about reparations for an entire race of people. Therefore, your anecdotal is not needed here. And you're also saying this: since black people kill black people, they don't need reparations. What is the logic in that? Taking accountability for your actions. Now, you could be a radical protester and fight for the injustices of your people, even though you're not the one suffering from those injustices. What the conservative does is that they figure out a way for themselves. And instead of making a life centered in charity, philanthropy, and assistance, turn it into a life of telling other black people what they should or shouldn't do. Black people need to take accountability. Of course, every human needs to take accountability, but how much accountability can you take for not getting financial services at the degree that you need, or financial literacy, or access to education when you're a child? Your mom put you in public school, put you on a fucking city bus, a school bus. How can you take accountability for that? Indoctrinated the whole time you're in public school from kindergarten to 12th grade. Like, take accountability for what? For their behavior, for their actions? Good. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about systematic racism. Systematic racism, racism embedded in the system, not by the people who are benefited from the system, but by the people that created the system. Therefore, we need so that we all can have a seat at the table. All can have a seat at the table, even those who cannot do for themselves. That's what we're talking about, cultural identity. So, our most successful should have a heart for those who are not so successful because they represent a whole. When he says that black people need to take accountability that is a form of projection. If you men have been able to accomplish something, you need to be accountable for the children, for the mothers, for the other men who can't take care of themselves and provide them with some form of structure, some form of prosperity, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, because it is each one teach one. There are millions of people, and if you are one of the best and brightest, that don't mean that your people is going to be the best and brightest. You got to turn around and help others. The conservative is anti that. That's the worst idea in the world to a goddamn conservative, to actually help people that's a part of his own race, to actually have the compassion for people of his own race. He doesn't have that. Why? Because the white supremacists that is giving him the ideas do not have compassion for the people that are opposite to him. The irony is, nigga, we are not opposites. We are the same. So if black people need to take accountability, guess what? I need to take accountability. Why? Because I'm a black person. What do you call that? What is that called? That's called like some type of psychological disorder, disassociation. What is disassociating? What's this disassociation? I went to public school. They didn't teach us about words or like that. Disassociation is a mental process where a person feels disconnected from their thoughts, feelings, memories, or sense of self. It can be normal, temporary experience like daydreaming or a symptom of a mental health condition. So maybe it's not disassociation. Maybe it just sounded good. But let's get back into it. Let me know if y'all can hear. Putting shit in my house. You don't think, when reference to black NPCs, the ideation around NPCs is that you don't even know they're an NPC. The script can run maybe for 5-10 years, nigga. They got a 5-year script, but then when that script run out, you don't even know this motherfucker because they are an NPC. So when it comes to cleaning your own house, yeah, you need to be accountable. But you also need to understand when people do attack you in the form of other black people that you love and welcome into your own house. You gonna send your daughter to school. She gonna come home one day like, fuck you, daddy. Why? Because I heard about the women's suffrage movement and you've been trying to oppress me for the past 100 years. The idea of patriarchy is not learned in the home. Idea of patriarchy is learned in the school. Men are patriarchal. They are bad people. Then you come home, your dad paying the fucking rent. And you like, fuck you, dad. I learned some shit at school. Well, did I do anything, baby? No, you the same nigga you always been. I just learned some new information. I realized I hate men. I hate all men because what y'all did to Susan B. Anthony in 1910. The fuck you mean? I love you. Fuck you, dad. I hate you. Girl power. Like, wait a second. And I've been listening to Spice Girls too. So if you want to be my lover, you gotta like, wait a second, girl. You are an NPC. You are my daughter, but you are an NPC. You are a non-playable character. You've been receptive to the scripts, and now it ain't no saving your ass. I'm gonna put you into college, and hopefully you find a husband. But that's my daughter. I love her. She a fucking NPC though. And I'm bringing that to your attention because niggas like this operate on pure scripts. Because when a person is giving you logical sense, a real person, a real nigga, I couldn't even think of that. Because when he said black people need to be accountable, I was like, he right. She said, why can't it be both? Because there are both causes, right? Black people need to be accountable, yes, but white people, not white people, white supremacy, systematic racism, redlining, sundown towns, economic exclusions, the lack of inheritance, lack of financial services, financial literacy, no access to education. You know, the black schools from the white schools, you know, the white neighborhoods from the black neighborhoods. Stop acting like this shit ain't real life. That is racism. That is segregation. This ain't 1965. It's 2025. If you make enough money, you good. And if you don't make enough money, you are fucked. That is not equality. That is not equanimity. That is not right and exact. That is slavery by another name in another context. As the world evolves, our structures do not evolve. Our understanding of structures, our ability to live in the world as black men and black women, and said, man, I love everything about this situation. I love that the information is valuable. I love that the love is there. I love that the vibrations is high. I love that this center is in truth. I remember I got in with some conscious niggas. And we was talking, we was building, we was about to do a video on a major black YouTube channel, Conscious. And they asked me, what lodge am I a part of? I said, I'm not a part of a lodge. These niggas stopped talking to me. He said, man, you not gang gang. Literally told me that. You not gang gang. Now think about conscious niggas that use the word gang gang, and you would know exactly who I was fucking talking to. Or my nigga put me on the group text. I start talking about sidereal astrology. He said, what lodge you a part of? I ain't a part of no lodge. You not gang gang. These is niggas, conscious niggas. Now the question is you gang gang or not gang gang? That gang gang is a buffer between us and being in a land of fucking paradise. We as black people don't even feel that we deserve paradise. We need to be accountable for the reason why we ain't living in paradise. And the problem is, if my situation is together, cool. How is that going to help the next man get his situation together? We can't live in these bubbles. How, like, it's so much as a man that even today I have no idea. And the reason I know I have no idea, because 10 years ago, the shit that I know now,
way to get the news. Welcome back to Trustworthy Journalism. Thanks again to Straight Arrow News for part.
Since I did it, everybody can do it. Since I had a great grandfather that was a naval admiral, you should have a great grandfather that was a Navy admiral. Since my grandfather lived in San Diego, probably because he was in the Navy, probably because I'm just assuming, right? Is there a Navy base in San Diego? I think there's a Navy base in San Diego. Because ain't San Diego off the water? Let me think. Naval Base San Diego, also known as Home Port San Diego, is the largest Navy base on the. Listen, your granddaddy ain't do nothing special. It didn't cost nothing to get into the Navy. All you got to do is be a good yes or no, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes or no, sir. Yes or no, sir. Yes or no. Hey, this is a good Negro right here. I like this Negro. Pat this nigga on the back extra hard. This nigga cough up a corn kernel. Here go your Navy check. Oh, I guess I'll buy me a house. Look, son, it's not racist. Those niggas are just dumb. This nigga joined the Navy, was stationed in San Diego, bought a house in San Diego. Now, we just need to follow his blueprint. This nigga is an NPC, y'all. You think I want to be on a ship 9 months out the year fighting wars that I didn't create just so I can say, why ain't y'all niggas got a house? I went to the Navy. I shoveled shit for 10 years. This nigga said he was the highest rank in the Navy. What does that even mean? Highest rank in the Navy. This nigga granddaddy was a fleet admiral. 5-star rank. I doubt it, but he said it, so it must be true. His granddaddy told him, I was a 5-star admiral general. This nigga was a cook. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just assuming. It just seemed like an easy thing to do. Join the Navy, live in San Diego, buy a house in San Diego, raise your family in San Diego. Now, racism effectively abolished. This nigga got the keys and the codes. Why didn't I think of this shit? This nigga, what did he get on? He got on his platform and told his story like niggas was about to say, oh, mom, guess what? I was watching this video and I figured that systemic racism's not even real. This nigga with a beard from the niggas from the Whispers. Y'all like, what are you talking about, hood? What beard? What whisper? What are you talking about? Weird beard from the Whispers. It's not a beard. It's a mustache. My nigga got a Whispers mustache. I'm trying to find it. They acting like they don't know who the Whispers is. Come on now. We know who the Whispers is. This is how my nigga came on the stage. He like, I'm about to kill him. Mama be on Jubilee on Sunday. This nigga said, I'm going to come through with the Walter Scotty. Nigga, we seen that mustache before. Nigga throwing a dashiki and a mustache and said, I'm gonna represent Black Power. See, but the thing about Black Power is it's in you, not on you. Black Power is in you, not on you. So go ahead, throw on your goddamn navel cap, whatever you want to wear. That dashiki ain't fooling nobody. Not me. This nigga wanted to be a part of the Whisper so bad. Rock steady looking at. So, anti-Black is not a stronghold of white people. It have progressed now to a multicultural, multi-ethnic consortium of millions, if not billions of people who agree to the ideology of anti-Blackness. And it has even gotten so sophisticated that you could be a Black person and be anti-Black. So when Nigerians, when Ghanaians, when Somalians, when Moroccans, when Ethiopians, when all Africans come here with a sense of anti-Blackness, they will be rewarded. What is anti-Blackness in essence? It is the inability to inform those who are seeking information. Right now, in this moment, there are people with information that can save your life, that can put money in your pocket right now, today, you can walk away from poverty instantly, but they're not going to tell you why, because they have made a commitment to be anti-Black. And if you don't see it, You'll never see it. And it's easy to see it and feel like, oh shit, it's not even that provocative because it makes common sense. But it really hits home when you see people that look like you spew and embody anti-Black talking points. Because even if I can become most successful person in the world, I would never be anti-Black. Because who I am as a person is not the same as the people that I know who have suffered in ways or don't have as much, what is the word that she used? Resilience. Maybe people aren't as resilient as I am. But this is why we radicalize, because we look at our people and we love our people. And when our back is against the wall, it makes us even more radical. Unless you're an NPC and it's like, as long as I'm taken care of, I'm taken care of. But you ain't gonna never win the game. Have you ever seen an NPC win a game? Have you ever seen an NPC be the victor of the game? So be that as it may, do what you need to do. But at a certain level, if you got insomnia, you can't concentrate, you got a burning fire inside of you, you don't know what to do with it, immerse yourself in a community, online community, start caring for your people, start standing up for your people, be a voice for the voiceless. Don't get successful and then look at your people and say, well, I did it, you can do it too. That's what's going to perpetuate racism, not for into my kids' generation, our grandkids' generation. It'll never end with this ideology. And I'm telling you, this is a microcosm of the niggas that you deal with on a daily basis. The reason why you haven't revolutionized, the reason that you haven't radicalized is because you got niggas around you rocking your ass to sleep. How are they rocking you to sleep? Y'all done made a couple of dollars. Y'all going out. Y'all eating meat. Y'all drinking liquor. Y'all having fun. And y'all don't give shit about the struggle. The struggle don't even exist as long as you can spend money and buy shit. Think about that shit. So white supremacy, we got to come to this. We need to come to this conclusion, right? Because I got one more video to react, one more segment to react to. And so we get into some concluding points. White supremacy has little to do with white people, and it has more to do with people that benefit from the system and the structures. White supremacy in its structure is anti-Black. And if we're not able to identify it, we're not able to get reparations. We're not able to repair, because the fact that we're not able to get repair is also saying that this government is perfect. And it has been perfect ever since 1776. It created the system where slavery was legal, right? But it also was the system that freed Black people. We actually freed the slaves, and we went to war to free you. That's propaganda. That's not real. So the last point is more to the point of this tether type shit, where
Systemic racism.
he comes back on here, Matt Nuclear. He's very intelligent and very smart, and he observes a lot about Black culture from what it seems to be the newspaper or articles online and YouTube videos and things of that nature. It seems like he's seen Trapmore Ross do the King Vine and the KTS Vine and KTS Dre, like Chicago drill rap. We've all observed it from the outside looking in and saying, well, why don't these people stop doing it? But in the midst of like what people are going through, they call it Chirac because it was 1 year that more black youths died in Chicago than in Iraq during wartime. So what is that? That's PTSD at a psychological level, but spiritually, that is the spirit of get back, where these young men, through their grief, through their trauma, were possessed by the spirits of the dead fallen soldiers to get back because once again, you smart, but you don't understand spiritism. Uh what am I talking about? Vengeful spirits. Like this is like stuff that smart educated boys don't know nothing about, right? What is a vengeful spirit or a vengeful ghost? A vengeful spirit is said to be a spirit of a dead person who returns from the afterlife to seek revenge for a cruel, unnatural, or unjust death. Does that not sound like the youth of Chicago or not? The youth of Jacksonville or not? The youth of South and Central Florida or not? The youth of Dallas or not? The youth of Houston or not? The youth of LA or not? I said the youth of LA or not. Gang culture is more of a spiritual thing. So what I'm saying, am I justifying it? No, but I didn't create the concept of vengeful ghosts. It makes a lot of sense as to why it's on site for these gangbangers because I understand that they could be possessed. What do they do? O Block, um, Shiesty World, and all these particular, they are venerating the dead. O Block is literally the veneration of dead. So when they get back gang, it's more of a spiritual thing. And I'm just giving you nuance in a subject that this man obviously don't have no nuance on. He just King Von is bad, Ben Carson is good. And getting to the root of it, I'll let him explain it why he think this way.
Because you mentioned systemic racism.
Slave merchants in Africa sold indentured servants who are brought to North and South America. The slaves sold at ports were captured during war raids or sold by African leaders. So, yeah, that could be two things can be correct, can be true. And like Africans sold other Africans because they were prisoners of war. Okay. But then, right, I'm going to show y'all two things that's very important to this conversation. I say these two things a lot because these are the things that never get brought up as if they didn't happen. So, Indian slavery, not Indian, American Indian slavery. American Indian slavery refers to the historical practice of enslaving indigenous people of the Americas. So that's going to say that even if no Africans came here, if no Africans ever came here, if no African slave ports ever existed, niggas was still going to be slaves. Let's just lay that out there. And another point, reverse Underground Railroad. This is none of the shit I'm making up. If you don't know about it, learn about it. This doesn't have nothing to do with niggas coming from Africa. In reference to this country, they would kidnap you into slavery in the United States, which was pre-American Civil War. This practice of kidnapping into slavery in the United States occurred in both free and slave states. So in the North and the South, this was practiced. And both fugitive slaves, which encompasses American Indians. Well, how do you know there were American Indians? Because they wasn't doing blood tests. The only way you knew you was white from black was a motherfucking paper bag. They wasn't doing genealogy, DNA tests, or none of that. It was free Negroes is another way of saying dark-skinned American Indians. And these dark-skinned American Indians were transported to slave markets and sold often multiple times. They were given lucrative rewards given for a return of fugitives. 3 types of kidnapping methods were employed: physical abduction, kidnapping through trickery, or the apprehension of fugitives. The enslavement or re-enslavement of free blacks occurred for 85 fucking years. Nigga, from 1780 to 1865, they enslaved people that was already here. So my question is to all of the geniuses out there, whether or not Africans were shipped here or not, how do we reconcile the reverse Underground Railroad? How do we reverse being enslaved, being indigenous or aboriginals? We reconcile it through reparations. So when people say, oh yeah, slavery wouldn't even existed if African tribes didn't sell you into slavery, that is false. Just by those 2 examples that I gave you, and you can do your own research on it. You're from Angola and you migrated to America. You don't migrate into Chicago or to Detroit. You migrate into Maine. According to Google, in 2023, Maine had 23,000 niggas in it. Let's do 23,000 divided by 42 million. The percentage of niggas in Maine is 0.0005% of nigga. Let's just put it out there. If you were surrounded by black people in Maine, if every day you seen a different black person, if you knew every black person in Maine, you wouldn't know shit about the black experience as a whole. If you did, it would be severely secondhand, and if anything. It is no black people in Maine, even if there is black people in Maine. Okay? Because the black people in Maine do not identify with black identity struggles. They are completely embedded within the white. Listen, if you live in Maine, like if you live in Maine, like look at this shit. Like the facts of Maine is just so crazy to me. Like this is the state of Maine, right? Like say for instance, you was in Boston, like you was coming from New York. You got to travel through Vermont and New Hampshire to get to Maine. When I say it ain't no niggas in Vermont, when I say it ain't no niggas in New Hampshire, when I say it ain't no niggas in Maine, you got to understand what I'm saying when I say it ain't no black people in these areas. Because I grew up in Boston. It's not even black people. It's a lot of black people in Boston, but it's not no black people in Boston. Like you start to see black people when you go to like Detroit or you go down south or you go to Carolinas or somewhere. But like the spectrum of it, like you would go to Boston today and you'd be like, damn, where's the black people at? Like where the black part of town at? Hard to find. That shit is non-existent in Maine. Like that shit gotta be, it's gotta be the weirdest place from a nigga to be from. Like, this got to be the weirdest place for a nigga to have black ideologies or black criticism without ever experiencing what it means to be, you know, indigenous or aboriginal to this country and everything that we have fought for, everything that we fighting to keep and retain, right? The fact that we just not letting go and rolling over and just acquiescing to this racist ass bullshit system that we are awakened in our kundalini is rising, and we are really getting our shit together on a spiritual level. We don't have to worry, like, we gonna probably have to worry about white people, but we got to go through a lot of niggas that look like this. If you care anything about revolution, if you care about anything about radicalizing yourself, you need to make sure it's niggas not like this in your foundation or in your group. Because when y'all get radical, it's going to be niggas that look like this that's going to go straight to the federales and have your shit what's the word? Ruined, took apart. Because we saying, oh, we need to unify with more black people, da, 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 da. Yeah, we do. But then you will let a nigga like this in, like, I'm from Maine. I'm for black power. This nigga hate your fucking guts. For real. Probably hate his own guts and projecting that hate onto you. I'm not even going to psychologically evaluate no nigga like this. I'm going to say, man, I'm going to let you have it. I got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to unify and get this shit together. And in your heart, you feeling like, you know, black people, we don't need shit. Judas and the Black Messiah. Exactly. So this have been my TED Talk, man. How to detect an NPC. I want to thank Jubilee for putting out a great video. I enjoy every minute of it. Make sure y'all go watch that video. Read my article, of course. It's going to have the link to the video and all the links to certain concepts that I've been laid out. This wasn't a simple examination. It took not a lot, but it took some effort to bring these concepts to the surface. So I just want to thank everybody who watched, liked, people that was active on the chat. This video was brought to y'all by White Rabbit Psych. Make sure you visit whiterabbitpsych.com. Look at our latest and greatest products. Check out the reviews. Check out our articles. Yeah, man, we're just trying to grow our business. So if you want to support this channel, I feel like the best way to support this channel is to support yourself. If you on the fence about psychedelics, check out our microdosing blogs, where I'm going to be active. I have been active writing more blogs for the site specifically, but we also got a microdosing starting guide. Have my bad. I'm trying to think of the right word for it. Site moving slow. But basically, it's like a psychedelic guide to help you before, during, and after. Just so you just like not taking mushrooms. Like, oh, I took some mushrooms. It was cool. It was fun. But really, journaling, of course, and then like taking your information and allowing your psychedelic trip to focus on what you just finished writing about. Like the thing that's fresh is on your mind, you're able to focus on. Because if you don't, you'll just let the trip take you into random places, and sometimes that's needed, but you ain't never got into a vehicle, into a car, and was like, all right, I'm gonna just let the car just do whatever it want to do. You got to drive it. You got to control it. So we teach a lot of that at whiterabbitpsych.com. like I said, make sure you visit the site, tap in, ask me any questions, follow me on Instagram at the Hood Mystic, man. Yeah, I have fun. Hope y'all have fun too. As we, look deeper on some of this shit that be happening in the zeitgeist. You know what I'm saying? And please don't fall victim to no NPCs, man. Understand that it could be somebody that look exactly like you, but a complete and total NPC. The way you detect if a person not an NPC, start having real conversations. It could be your wife for 8 years. Y'all have kids together and everything. You love her, you love him, whatever the case may be, and y'all start having real conversations, and that shit will unravel before you could even, before your head could spin. It's like NPCs exist on this outward layer. So it could be the friend that you going out with, people you in relationships with, people that you work with, and you might feel like that's your bestie or some shit, but y'all ain't never really had a real conversation, right? And so what I did for these past 3 hours, going on four, was have a real conversation that NPCs is not going to like shit that I said, but your soul will have a feast, right? Because like we really need to tap into this. You know what I mean? We really got to lock in to our soul's consciousness and get to this work. But it's hard to really get to it with niggas like this in the world. So now that we see it, we could avoid it, get above it, go beyond it, because it's still work to do. This shit is not over. Um, the work is tireless. I get it, but it's still to be done. And it's our compassion, it's our love for others. So if you've been going through a period of time where you like, man, fuck these niggas, I'm about to take care of myself, I'm just about to do me. That's the enemy. And of course, the enemy is going to put you in a position where you're making money, you're comfortable, whatever. But think about your life. Think about how you could assist those, how you could grow, how you could develop, how you can reflect through other people, and how we are communal people at our core. So, with all that being said, I pray for a better day. And not only pray for a better day, I'm willing to do the work so that if not me, my children or my children's children could eventually live in a world where they could acknowledge that they live on earth in America, and it is in fact paradise. It is in fact a beautiful world and a beautiful life, surrounded by nature, surrounded by fruit, surrounded by love and community. I pray for that world that we all can live in it, not just people who pull themselves up from their bootstraps and shit like that. So I hope that y'all like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. We dive deep into shit. So if you into that type of shit, no pause to the fellas. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But I'll catch y'all on the flip side. I'm about to hit the gym, do some other errands, and enjoy the rest of my day. Thank y'all. And hit me up. One final thing before I get out here. If y'all do want to donate, you can visit $Hood Mystic 38 on Cash App. All donations are appreciated because the effort and work that goes into this channel, um, completely self-supported. So I've been on this YouTube, doing this YouTube thing for the past 8 to 9 years, largely in part through contributions and donations from Black people, and that's real. So I'm gonna always love Black people because Black people have put food on my table when they never even had to. So for those who have ever supported me, ever sent a cash app, ever liked the video, ever watched the video, I just want to say thank you. And I appreciate you because you don't have to do none of this shit. So with all that being said, I hope y'all all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Now I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.